Welcome to Dear Lover, a space to dive deep into the unknown and celebrate diverse human creativity and devoted self-intimacy. My name's Amy, and I'm here to get real and unscripted in sharing my journey of reclaiming my feminine nature and awakening into my truth. We'll be sharing conversations and stories on self-love, sensual embodiment, intimacy, and creative empowerment, all with the intention to be on this journey together of coming home to our heart, embody the fullest expression of our sexuality, and lead with love, compassion, play, and joy. So let's trust, breathe, and believe, and create magic together. Thank you so much for choosing to tune into this. This interview and conversation is particularly for you if you're a teacher. Our intention for this episode is to bring compassion to you, is to connect to other teachers and to bring light to the emotional challenges and obstacles that teachers face every day in this rewarding yet challenging profession. We talk openly and honestly about our own experiences. Katherine is also an international teacher, and we're very open in this episode. You can hear the passion coming through, the passion that we have for our profession, but also the honesty of the challenges that are faced. So I feel if you are a teacher, you're really going to connect to this episode, and I would love to hear your feedback from this episode and what you think, what your challenges are, your background, your story. So please reach out particularly if you're a teacher, and I hope you enjoy this episode. So without further ado, Katherine, our guest today, is an award-winning teacher who has been teaching students aged 3 to 18 for the last 11 years in the UK and Middle East. Her passion lies in mental health, and she has recently taken the jump from teaching to school counselling. She is a children's mental health and empowerment coach, theta healer, access bars practitioner, and currently living in Dubai. Enjoy the episode. Let's start off with, firstly, how we're connected, and because me and Katherine have actually been connected for about 2 years now, just over 2 years, and we connected online via the Project Next workshop I have hosted by Tony Robbins. Yeah, so we're both teachers, both international teachers, and with an entrepreneurial spirit very much. And we've bonded and connected ever since. And tell us a bit about yourself, Katherine. A bit about your background, where you are right now.
Yeah, so it was amazing. I remember on the Tony Robbins page that we were all on, I remember you popping up as a teacher, and I was like, oh, another teacher, and we just clicked, didn't we? And we've never actually met in real life. But we will go to a real life in-person Tony Robbins event one day. Definitely, we'll do that together. But I am a teacher. Well, actually, I'm currently a school counsellor, but I was a teacher. So I started off teaching in the UK and then quit for a year to go travelling. And it was amazing. And when me and my husband went traveling, we went around the world, and there were 3 places that we really fell in love with. And we were like, we could teach here. And those 3 places were Canada, the UAE, and Australia. So we applied and we got Dubai. So we ended up moving to Dubai, and we've been here 7 years now. So I was teaching initially, and then during COVID, I learned lots about mental health and did lots of courses and things like cognitive behavior therapy and neurolinguistic programming and energy healing. And I'm now a full-time school counsellor, and I absolutely love it.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. That was a really concise overview. And we'll dive much more into that. And I think, firstly, that's very inspirational to, I feel, many teachers. I know myself, when I first started teaching, it was one of my goals and dreams to teach abroad, and I was very inspired by a senior teacher who was planning to do just that. And can you tell us a bit more, for the teachers listening out there, who right now may be teaching in their home country with an aspiration to expand their experience and take the leap to international teaching, education abroad. Can you tell us a bit about your experience there?
Yeah, so I just felt a little bit stuck in the UK. And I've always thought to myself, once you start dreading going into work, that's when you need to make a change. So I've actually chopped and changed across the years. I've had lots of weird and wonderful and wacky jobs. And I tried some other things, like I tried marketing, I tried advertising, I worked in a mental health prison, I worked in retail, I did makeup artistry, I tried all sorts of different things. And then I remember doing volunteer work in a school, and I was like, this is the one, I love it. So I applied to go on the PGCE and trained to be a teacher, and absolutely loved it. And I remember in my first year of teaching, I was like, I am so lucky to have found my dream job. And I put my heart and soul into it. And the first year was incredible. And then the workload just, when I think in your first year, you're super energized, you're super passionate, you want to do well. You don't mind the 10 p.m. late nights and working every weekend. And it's just part and parcel of it. But then I started to miss out on social events and missed like parties, and just always ended up having to say no because I always had so much work to do. And I think over time, gradually, it got to me. And I always remember thinking, I don't know how these amazing teachers who've got families, who've got young children or even older children, manage to spend quality time with their families, because teachers are amazing. And there's just so much planning and preparation that goes into each and every day. And all the targets need updating and all the marking needs updating. And every day you're teaching 5, 6, 7 lessons, and every lesson needs preparing, and the books need marking. The children put a lot of effort into their work, so you need to put a lot of effort into the marking. And it's just a lot. It's a lot. It's an amazing job. And it's a really hard job in terms of the admin that goes into it. It's not face-to-face teaching. It's almost like you do that, and as soon as the children go home, that's when your admin job starts. It's like almost 2 jobs in one.
Yeah, I feel like it's multiple jobs in one, right? I feel like as a teacher, so some people outside of education may not realize the extent in the fact that teachers are, yes, they're teachers, they're educators, they're also counselors, they're also
dentists,
carers, dressers,
social workers,
social workers, all the range. The job description varies, and I feel like at the soul of it, at the heart of teaching is a creative career. Like, it's very creative, and I feel like a lot of teachers and my friends, and I'm sure the people in education are very creative beings, and they do, like you say, we do put a lot of heart and soul and energy into the lessons, but there's there's an extent to which that can happen as well, right? And what was your biggest, in terms of personally for you, like emotionally, and what was your biggest struggle, your biggest thing that you struggled with emotionally in your story?
I always felt like I wasn't doing enough. As a teacher, I felt like I was always failing. Even though my lesson observations were outstanding, I always felt like it was never enough. I just couldn't keep on top of the marking. And we had every piece that we marked, it had to be, the children had to respond to the marking. It had to be cross-referenced with their targets, had to be cross-referenced with the National Curriculum Assessment. And it's like there's just not enough time in the day to get the marking done and to plan amazing lessons. So something you've got to give, and then be an amazing wife, husband, daughter, son to your family, an amazing friend. And I found, like, at the weekends I was always foraging. So I was like, oh, this could be good. Like, if I ever went out for a walk, I was collecting pine cones. You spend so much of your own money as a teacher. It's crazy. But anyway. And I remember it just gradually, it wasn't like an overnight thing. It was just gradual. I realized I was driving to work one morning, and I was like, I wish I could have a car accident and just crash into this tree so I could have 6 weeks off with a broken leg. And just horrible thoughts about having accidents so that I wouldn't have to come to school. And it was pretty dark at times. And I just also remember sometimes driving to school in the morning so tired that I would either have to pull over or pull my window down to get some fresh air, because I literally felt like I was going to fall asleep at the wheel. And then I think it was when I was thinking, oh, I wish I could drive into a tree. And sadly, it wasn't. I remember telling one of my colleagues about that, and they were like, oh, yeah, me too. I think that every day. I think this isn't normal.
This isn't normal.
And then every day you're having to be Disney in front of all of the children and having to put on this like a mask that everything's always amazing. And yeah, so much energy goes into these lessons, like being like a Disney presenter.
Yeah.
And then deep down, I was like crumbling inside.
Yeah.
And I remember actually one of my lesson observations didn't go very well. It was just an informal learning walk. And this is the thing, like, I don't know many careers where you are constantly assessed at how good you are at your job. So we would have our formal observations. Then we'd have these learning walks where they'd come in and just watch the lesson. And if it wasn't outstanding or anything less than outstanding, because we were an outstanding school, you were then like, criticized, and it's like, you can't be perfect all the time. And I think that one didn't go particularly well. I didn't have a teaching assistant with me that day because she was off sick, and sometimes the lessons just can't be perfect because a child is having a meltdown in the corner, and it's the nature of it. And I took it so personally, and I invited them back. I said, no, I know it wasn't a good lesson, come again. And they came again and it was fine, but I felt really inferior and inadequate, and I felt like I was failing these children because not every moment of the day can be an outstanding lesson. And good isn't good enough. Like it has to be. It has to be. Everything has to be amazing. And so I remember thinking, I just need a break from this. And so my husband is awesome. Sorry.
Go on. What was the thought that inspired you to make that change, to really commit? I mean, you said about the thought of having accidents and those intrusive thoughts, and me too. That's the thing. It's actually really common, and it's not normal. And when I can definitely resonate with that, and the feeling of this is what I want, rather than going into the classroom and and it's real. It's very common. But you said about that, what would you say is the thought that inspired you to make the change and commit to that change? Because that can be scary to take that leap of faith, even if you're really, really struggling, and that fear can be really instilled. And because, as we know, teaching is a relatively stable job, and it has lots of, it's a really great job. You're with kids and it has lots of perks and things. But what was the thought that inspired you to commit to your change?
Unfortunately for me, I had to hit rock bottom to realize. So I had a really tricky meeting with a parent one day, and I was pinned up against the wall, and I felt like he was going to attack me. Luckily he didn't. I was fine. But my body then had a panic attack, and I couldn't come in the next day. I actually got signed off for a week. And my body shut down. I ended up in hospital. I could not move, and I couldn't feel my arms and my legs. And the doctor, I was convinced that I was dying. And the doctor said, no, this is a panic. It's a stress reaction in your body to an event that's happened. So luckily it was then half term. So I had another week off, and then I couldn't go back to school that following Monday. I just still couldn't really move. It was weird. I've never experienced anything like that. I was having like a 3-week panic attack. So I had another week off, and I went back to school, and I was just shaking. And I was having, not in front of the children, but I was having panic attacks at the end of the day. And I just knew something had to change. So luckily at our school, we got free counselling. We got like 6 weeks of free counselling if you needed it. So I went to see a counsellor who was amazing. And I'd highly recommend that everyone sees a therapist or a counsellor, because it just helps you reframe your thoughts. You get the tools that maybe you can't come up with by yourself, and it makes you realise actually this isn't normal to be in this environment, and be okay for for parents to come in and physically assault you or verbally assault you, even though you're trying your best for their child.
Yeah.
And so that was really, really helpful. My husband as well was also a teacher, and we both one night just said, it's horrific. Let's go and travel the world. Let's quit our jobs and travel the world, because we just weren't enjoying going to work anymore. And that was it. And we were like, okay, yeah, let's do it. We'll hand our notices in and go. So we did. And we left in January rather than waiting the whole school year. We handed our notices in and had the best 9 months of our life just exploring the world. And I remember the first few weeks, we started off in Canada. I remember the first few weeks we were there, I was like, oh, I kind of feel a bit guilty that I'm not at work. And then you soon forget that. And it's like, it's freedom. Mm-hmm. It's nice to feel free. It was amazing. Anyone who has not spent an extended amount of time traveling, I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I came back to life. I got my energy back. I got my sparkle back. I definitely lost my sparkle, got my sparkle back. And that's when we decided we'd give working abroad a go. And he's probably the only teacher I've ever met that verbally says he loves his job. He loves teaching in Dubai. He absolutely loves it. It's everything and more he could wish for. And yeah, I feel really lucky to have found my job. To be teaching mental health it's incredible. I feel so lucky and I'm really grateful that I transitioned into mental health.
Yeah, it sounds like now I feel like it sounds like you can connect the dots going backwards, but at the time it was really difficult and really challenging. But it took that leap of faith, right? And I think that's it's a good example for the kids and the students that they teach, is to, one, not be perfect and accept that no one's perfect, and really, in those challenging moments, the number one key thing we can do is look after ourselves and take care of ourselves and go inward and the work of, I completely agree, like looking, sitting with a therapist, sitting with a counsellor, a coach to guide you to help yourself is so empowering. And now you're helping the kids with the same. So it's like it's a full circle.
And it's just amazing. When you teach abroad, I know you've taught abroad in lots of countries, more countries than me, but when you teach abroad, it makes teaching come alive again. It's like all fresh, all new. The curriculums, I've worked in American curriculum schools, British curriculum schools, the curriculum's a bit different, and it's just like exciting again. Like that first year of teaching, everything is exciting again. And it's amazing. International kids are so amazing because they've experienced travel, they've experienced transition. They're so open.
They're so open, and the multilingual, the fact that they're multilingual as well just amazes me. And
we have 92 nationalities in our school, and it's incredible. And you get a piece of all these amazing cultures together, and it's just the best atmosphere. And when you move abroad, because you're not with your genetic family, you create these amazing families. And school is like a family. It's like you're one tribe. We've all moved to this different country together. We're one tribe. You all become family. It's an amazing thing.
I love what you just said. School becomes your family, and that's so true. That's even more true when you might feel like it if you work and teach in your own country, but like. I feel like international teaching amplifies that into a more like your chosen family. This is your chosen family. And I mean, because I lived in Thailand. My setup in Thailand was that I worked with my best friends, like literally the classroom next door. We'd pop over into the classroom whenever we had a small, tiny moment in our day. And, we also all lived on the same floor in the same apartment building. I mean, it was quite intense at times, and private rules and boundaries got crossed and everything, all of that. But that's another story. And it is definitely like working with your best, like your friends definitely become your family abroad. And I can definitely, if you are a teacher, listen to this, thinking about that and thinking, because the most common question I got was, do you know anyone? And, I was like, no, I'm going on my own. And that's always been the case. So, when I moved to Thailand, when I moved to I mean, to be fair, I did know one person in Hong Kong. But most of the time, like, we don't know anyone, and you make your family, and you make really strong connections and really strong friends, because the thing I love about it is that you already have something in common, right? You already have something in common. The fact that you want to go and live abroad and teach abroad, and, so it takes that leap of faith and that courage and that open-mindedness and patience as well, and also not comparing your country to the country you're living in, or the country that you've previously lived in, right? Letting go of your kind of any expectations, right? Because I feel like some of my friends, and me included, put my hand up here when I said I was moving to Thailand to teach. I had an envision, you have an envision of like, oh, you're going to be on a Thai beach. And I used to get like, Amy, why haven't you got a tan? I'm like, I've been in the class. I've been in the classroom.
Yeah, at work. Yeah.
I actually haven't been on a beach all the time. So yeah, it's like letting go of even though I used to do a lot of research before every transition I made, and even though any research I did, like, it was great, it settled my mind, but really at the end of the day, when we got there, it's about letting go of any expectations and things and going with it. But yeah, the kids are very inspirational as well, and they help you to, I think they inspire your own teaching practice to think outside the box as well, and because you've got all the different cultural dynamics and influences going on, and it's really exciting.
Oh, it is. And you know what? The best thing about Dubai is that every day when you open the curtains, it's sunny. It's like you feel like you're on holiday just because it's sunny every day. And all the apartments come with a swimming pool, and that's part of the package. You get housing, and you get your flights every year, and you get your medical insurance and whatnot. But yeah, it's like living actually, we did live in a hotel. That was where when we first moved here, our housing, me and my husband, our housing was in a hotel. We lived in a service hotel, so we got our bed sheets changed every day.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Living life of luxury. Yeah.
It is amazing. It just kind of brings a new lease of life and it is still hard, like you say. People say, oh, you're so pale. But I work in the day, so when I get home, the sun has gone in, I can't tan in the evening.
Exactly. I mean, let's talk about, just really briefly, before we move on to another area of this conversation, is like the challenges of international teaching, or generally living abroad, because I feel like it can get kind of glamorized. I was also really aware of like if someone went on my Instagram account during the time when I initially first left, for sure, it was like I was on, no wonder it would look like I was on holiday.
It looks like you're on holiday because you're posting,
so it can, exactly, it can get glamorized. What would you say is one of the main challenges that you experienced living abroad?
I think like home is always home, and however hard you try and you make your apartment nice and you put your pictures up and you get your candles and your cushions, and it's never home. We're so lucky as teachers that we get the lovely long holidays and we can go home, but it's almost like this, and it's quite transient. Like, you make close relationships and then they leave, and new people come, and people come and go. So that's kind of hard, but then it teaches you to be so much more resilient, and it teaches you actually how to make relationships with people.
Yes.
Back home, you're kind of friends with your high school friends or university friends, or if you play a sport or whatnot, with your netball friends or whoever, and then you don't really make or need to make friends. But when you're over here, you have to I've tried also, I remember going to like embroidery classes and painting classes and yoga and terrarium making. I've tried all the wacky and weird classes to try and meet people and make friends. And I don't think you've done that in the UK. It forces you to become more social. So that's the hardest thing, is obviously not having your family around. But it's so easy with communicating, like with video calling and whatnot. It's so easy to keep in touch.
I completely agree about the relationships. That is one of the hardest things, that the challenges that I found, but also I feel like my past prepared me for this, and also my mum was very good at giving me some wise mum advice on this. This was actually due to when I was back at uni, and I made some really close friends, and obviously at uni, once you graduate, people spread. and you lose contact. And I coming back from uni, I was really like sad about this. And I remember my mum saying to me, she said, you know, Amy, like sometimes your friends are just for seasons of your life. Sometimes it's like that quote, right? That sometimes friends are for your lifetime, some are for seasons, you know, and it doesn't make it any less valuable. And I love what you said about it teaches you how to be resilient, and it teaches you how to form relationships on a deeper level, because you don't know how long you've got together. And for sure, like my relationships living abroad, there have been a deeper, more intimacy about them because of that, because of just this environment and that we're in. And yeah, emotions are high and everyone is away from their families. And yeah, so it does, it's amazing. And it does, it does branch you out to do many, many different things that you wouldn't normally do. And I think that's, that's amazing, especially as being in an environment when working with kids as well. It's an inspiration to be the example, to do that yourself. So that's great. That's amazing.
Yeah, we run lots of school clubs for the children, but it's also good to say, oh, I tried this at the weekend, and I tried that, and I tried drama improv, and why don't you try this? And I dragon boat racing, just things I would never have done in the UK.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, one of the best memories I have from living in Hong Kong is the Dragon Boat Festival, the annual Dragon Boat, and this is like their main festival, their main sport in Hong Kong, right? And Dragon Boat Festival, and I was part of a Dragon Boat team, and it was all teachers. It was good fun. Like it was like an international teacher Dragon Boat team. Paddington Bears. That's what it's called. Maybe I'll tag them. And it was so much fun. But I mean, the local Hong Kongers took it really seriously, and we didn't, I guess. And but no, the best memory I have is on race day. The coach, the captain, I know, the leader of the team, gave me the position of the person being on the drum at the front of the boat with the banging the drum for the other people in the boat. And I freaked out and I said, I don't think I could do this. And he just looked at me. He was like, Amy, can you bang a drum? And I'm like, yes, I can bang a drum. It's like, you're good then. You have the strength to hold up the anchor, because that's the thing. You have to there's a so suspenseful moment at the beginning. You have to hold up the anchor, and then like the massive cannon goes off, and I'm like, this is all on me. Like, I have to do this.
Sounds amazing.
But it's so much fun, you know. Like Muay Thai as well. Like, I did Muay Thai when I lived in Thailand, and that's just it's something I just wouldn't do, right? So if you're thinking about it, just do it. I think it's
do it, and even if you hate it, and go back. Like
exactly.
Even if you just for the first term, I know plenty of teachers who've come just for a term. No, it's not for me. I want to be back with my family.
That is the beauty of. And that was the thought that was always in my head. I was like, you know what? If this doesn't work out, we can always go back. At least we won't regret it, right? Like I don't want to. My thought that got me on that plane when I was in my moments of doubt, even though it was something that I was really 100% sure, I'd been dreaming about it for years, you know, and ever since really I was a kid, because I lived in Hong Kong, like I feel like my experience living in Hong Kong and being in an international school I was in international school from the age of year 3 to year 5, year 3 to year 5. So I think that inspired my experience to go back and do it from the other side as a teacher. And so I pretty was certain that's what I was going to do. But obviously, like everyone, I had moments of doubt. And that thought of like, I don't want to be at the end of my life and have that wonder, right? Have that just like, oh, I imagine if I did this. So just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. I think Tony Robbins taught us that, didn't he? When you're on your rocking chair at the end of your life, what do you want your life to have looked like?
Exactly. Like, what do you want to be telling your grandchildren? Isn't that amazing? You know? Yeah.
And for me, it was amazing here because I've learned that you can be a teacher in non-teaching settings. So after my first school here, I became a private teacher for a VIP family, which was insane. It was so good. I got to travel around the world with them. And it was just like the best parts of teaching, where I was just the teacher, like just teaching without having to do any of the assessments, and obviously a little bit of assessment, but without the planning, and everything was bespoke and creative. And like, one of them loved The Lion King, so we would make all the lessons about The Lion King, and it was just so creative. It was lovely.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that, like, because just to open up people's minds of there is other options outside the classroom, like within education. That's what I've learned, having, you know, since resigning from the classroom, of like, there's so many other options as well, and that's amazing. What an amazing experience.
And in tutoring, like over here, it's huge business in tutoring. You can be a full-time tutor and work 4 till 8 and get more money than you can as a teacher. It's amazing. I know you do tutoring as well. I think and then it gives you the daytimes. It's so lovely. I did that for a little bit too, and it was so nice not having to wake up early, and I'd have time to go to the gym, or I'd go to the beach in the morning, and then maybe a little bit of prep work obviously before, and then I'd work 4 till 8, and then that was I've really enjoyed it.
That's what I've been doing mostly alongside my own business these past 2 years, because is that, and it's the flexibility, and whilst you figure out what you're doing in your own business, it's been great. And I love like, my background is in individualized teaching, so it is all individualized, it's one-to-one, so, and you get the relationships, you know, like some of the students I've had now I've had them for like over 2 years, so we really form a relationship with them, which I really love.
That's amazing. And you can really get them when you're working one-to-one. You can the learning is so accelerated. It's incredible.
And like you say, it's more creative. You can really instill your own creativity, but aim it towards the child's interest and creativity and what they're interested in. And
it is amazing. And I think we were similar in that sense, where we were both doing tutoring but then working on our own things. So I'm a course addict. I'm obsessed with learning at the minute. So that's where I learned that's where I had time to learn about children's mental health and do my diplomas and do all my learning in that, so then I could really fall into alignment with my purpose. I think that's what we did on our course together. It was all about finding your purpose, finding your why are you here in this lifetime, what do you want to do? And I realized I don't want to teach fractions anymore. I don't want to do that. I want to teach what children actually need to learn, and what I feel children need to learn is how to understand and manage their emotions, how to become the master of their mindset, how to conquer life with so much resilience, how to learn about mental health. I feel like once they've got that foundation and self-love,
everything else will be so much easier.
Then they're in the best place to learn and remember about fractions and
exactly. I completely agree. Like, let's talk about now. That flows really nicely. It flows really nicely. Let's talk about your current role now, and personally as well, like the work that you've learned in the courses and everything because I know you studied such a range of skills and courses and healing and modalities in your own personal journey, and share a bit about that, and also like how some of the challenges that you see as a school counsellor, in your current role as a school counsellor as well with the children.
So for me, COVID was such a blessing, because during COVID, I hit rock bottom again. And that's when I was like, okay, so
Katherine, 1 minute. Sorry to stop you. Can you realize what you just said? That's amazing. Can you just repeat that? Because you just said in the same sentence, COVID was such a blessing, I hit rock bottom. That's amazing. Like, because so many people, right, to have that in the same sentence is so good. You know, it shows your own personal growth and your resilience. It literally, the fact that you just said that shows your own resilience, your emotional resilience. Like, COVID was just a blessing, which most people will be like, no, COVID was not a blessing. I hit rock bottom.
I needed that. Like, COVID was a blessing because it made me stop, and I got really bad anxiety. Like, I've had actually anxiety since I was little. I've always had anxiety. Actually, no, I think I always have actually. I think we all have anxiety, of course, it's one of our emotions, but I was exceptionally anxious as a child. I remember one of my first memories was of this memory where I was in a circle at nursery and just worried what other people were thinking about me. And I thought, I was quite just a deep thinker. Let's not say overthinker. Let's say deep thinker.
A deep thinker.
I was always very concerned with what others thought of me and if I was good enough. And so in social situations, I was always worried about what I was saying. I was very quiet as a result. I was very shy. And I went through a lot of trauma as a child, as we all do, as we all go through. And I thought I dealt with it. I remember I got diagnosed when I was about 14 with anxiety disorder. So I was on medication for that. I really struggled with high school, but I just put it down to like, oh, everyone struggles with high school. Everyone hates high school. It's horrific. And I thought I dealt with it. I've been seeing counsellors on and off since I was actually 5 years old. Not consistently, like once when I was 5, once when I was a teenager, then again at university. And yeah, counselling has always saved me. It's always really, really helped me. So it's something I will always continue to do. And I make sure I see someone maybe once a month, even if it's just for a debrief. But I think it's important to get that support. But going back to COVID, all that came back. Like my anxiety came back. I was having panic attacks again. I was just so anxious about getting COVID, and I really hit rock bottom again. And I felt awful, like really awful, really dark thoughts, didn't want to be here anymore. And so from then I was like, okay, something needs to happen, and it can't just, I didn't want to do the whole medication thing again. So I went to a yoga retreat, which was amazing. And it taught me about breath work and how to actually heal your body on an energetic level. And then at the same time, I saw then a psychologist, and she did a lot of CBT work. And then from then I was like, oh, wow, this has cured me. I want to learn how to do this so I can do this on other people. And so that's when I started training in it myself. And it's just incredible, like the power of the mind and also the power of the body energetically. My thing at the minute is healing. I love energy healing. I've trained in access bars and theta healing. And it's amazing once you shift the energy, how that changes everything that changes your mind. It's incredible. So
I feel like energy is the source, the energetic, at the end of the day, we're energetic beings, and go into the energy, it's the source, right? It's the source. And definitely.
And if you think like just on a scientific way, our atom is 99.99969% space.
Exactly.
So that we are space.
We are space.
Energy. Yeah. There's so much space for energy to transform us. And I didn't realize that a lot of our current nervous system responses are linked to traumatic events from the past, from always our childhood, or not always, but mostly our childhood, that have been stored. And then every time our body reacts in the same way. So that's why we get certain phobias and fears, and we get anxious in situations. But once you shift that energetically, you don't get triggered. It's amazing. Everyone should do energy healing. It's incredible. Also, obviously the mind work as well, like working on your mind and energy together is
really powerful.
It's really powerful.
This is exactly why, like, the mission of the Heart School to create space, right? It's about creating space, space being really important, because it's within the space that we can deeply heal ourselves, because we are space. And and how do we give ourselves space? Firstly, by being present, right? What is space? How do we define space? It's here now, space all around us. And I feel like giving ourselves that space to slow down, turn inwards, look at ourselves, look at our limiting beliefs, look at how our mind works, look at our past childhood traumas and beliefs and experiences is so powerful, and on an energetic level, like you say. And and seeing, like you said, about the theta healing access bars, like I've had some sessions myself as well, and seen some really deep transformations, and you can feel it. I noticed even like in my face, I look different as well. And you said have you had experience with kids doing this? Yeah,
it's amazing, because it changes you on a cellular and DNA level. Like energy healing changes that, and theta healing changes that. It's incredible. And the kids are amazing because they're so open energetically, and like kids often don't need the energy healing that adults need, but with kids it's amazing just by downloading unconditional love and accepting themselves for who they are. That's all they need. And when with the question you said, what's the biggest challenge with school counselling? The parents will come saying, my child has XYZ, or they present XYZ, or they're afraid of roller coasters, whatever it is. And fix my child. It's this whole fix my child mentality. It's like, no, let's accept your child
yes.
as they are, and let's work on you. And why is it a problem that your child is afraid of roller coasters?
Exactly.
That's normal. Yeah. That's a normal phobia and fear to have. Let's, rather than thinking there's a problem with your child, let's accept and love them for who they are, and let's allow them to do things at the weekends that don't involve feeling like they're going to die. Like, it's okay not to want to go on roller coasters. And things like, oh, my child, they don't have many friends. There's an issue. There must be a problem because they've only got like one friend. And then you ask them, so how, when you were younger, what type of friendships did you have? Oh yeah, I only trusted very few people. Well, there we go. It's a DNA pattern. And your child is the same. They feel safe maybe with one person rather than being friends with 18 people. And everyone's different. And just to accept and love your child as they are, rather than thinking they need fixing, is the best thing. But as a school counsellor, like you said, with the space, that's what you do. You provide a space for the child to just be themselves and to learn to love and accept themselves as they are. And once you work on a child's self-esteem and self-love, and you get them to see all the things they're amazing at rather than focusing on all the things they're not perfect at, then that's when you see the shift, and they're like, oh, I can just be myself. And a lot of it is educating the parents, but
that's so amazing. That's so powerful and valuable what you're sharing, Katherine. I hope everyone listening to this really hears that message. It does come down to love and acceptance of the child, but ultimately, and in that, love and acceptance of ourselves as adults. Because what I'm hearing you say as well is that it's the parent comes to you with the child is the problem, and actually it's turning the finger around and taking the personal responsibility of let's look at yourself, and how can you love and accept yourself, and when you were that age, and going back there. So it's so powerful to see that in action. Like, you literally see that in your work, what you're doing.
And parents get most triggered when their child has the same traits as them. That's when they get triggered. They're like, this needs fixing because I went through this and it's not okay.
Yeah.
But what about if you accepted that as a child? How different would your life be now, rather than you weren't good enough because you weren't good at public speaking? So for me, I work with the children on giving them all the tools to help them feel confident to be themselves. That's
amazing. I honestly feel like you're sharing, like you're saying, it's the foundation of everything. And I feel like love and acceptance is it's the foundation. And I feel like a lot of our resistance and comes from and taken from a higher spiritual place as well. Eckhart Tolle, Michael Singer, literally the whole talk, the whole message is in acceptance of the present moment, acceptance of now. And a lot of our suffering comes from the resistance within that. And it's like, what if actually we accepted everything that is now, including everything in there, including our children, including ourselves, and imagine the creativity that will outflow and pour out of that. Like, what's some of the transformations you've seen in some of the kids that you, or even the parents that you've worked with?
With the energy healing, it works really well with children with selective mutism, because it's often come from a traumatic event. It can be something from they were bullied by somebody said something unkind to them when they spoke up, or it could be from just not feeling safe around parents. So energy healing on that has worked wonders to help them feel safe to talk. But I feel like I call it sparkle. I find that when I work with the children, from the beginning to the end of the sessions, I usually work 6 weeks minimum with them, their sparkle comes back, and it's so wonderful. There's this one girl who set up her own jewelry business, and
I love that.
jewelry, and 100% of the proceeds go to a charity in India where they get kids off the streets and into schools. She's 8 years old and she's incredible.
Wow, I love that.
And then she's also really into plastic pollution, and she's made flyers to go around the whole school. And I've got children who are in my I call it my empowerment group, who struggle with confidence. Like they struggle talking in class, they don't raise their hand, they maybe don't feel safe to talk. They're now doing podcasts, and they are amazing. They're talking over the tannoy. There's like 3,500 people in our school, and they're in the mornings talking over the tannoy in front of everyone. There's this one boy who sang a song in front of everyone, in front of every Wednesday morning. We have this where if you want to, you can sing songs or play an instrument. And he sang a song, and it was beautiful, and he wouldn't have been able to do that before.
That's amazing.
When children learn to be their best friend and to be their biggest champion, and learn, I do it with a magic remote control. You know, I didn't learn until an adult that we can actually choose our thoughts. We don't have to listen to this negative self-talk. We don't have to be nasty.
I didn't know that until I was an adult either. That was the biggest like aha moment I had years ago. Like, we don't have to believe this.
I don't have to be honest with myself. I thought I had to be really mean. I thought I had to be a bully. Like, it was just natural. Like, I was just nasty, so nasty to myself, spoke to myself like I would never speak to any other human. And then I realized, I can choose. I don't have to say that. Or if it comes, I can choose to straight away be like, no, let's cancel that. Let's change that with something more positive.
Yeah.
The whole positive affirmation thing. So with the children, I give them all a magic remote control, and I'm like, it's obviously invisible, and they get to choose what color the buttons are, and some of the buttons are googly eyes. It's not a real remote control. But we practice that, changing the channel on our thoughts. So if they're about to do an exam and they're a bit worried, or they've got their spelling test and they're a bit worried, we'll practice. Okay, let's think of an exciting thought. Let's think of a funny thought, just to get them used to, actually, I can choose my thoughts. I don't have to, the spelling test is going to go badly, or my performance is going to go badly.
I love that. That's so creative. It's so creative and empowering. Like, actually giving them a physical object, a physical thing as well. Like, it's so great. And I can hear it in your voice. You're so passionate about what you're doing, and it's so valuable. And I hope that I'm sure the people listening can feel the energy and feel the passion and feel it, and gives you inspiration to go and do the same in whatever avenue that is, right? Like you found your purpose and why you're here, and it shines through, and now it's shining through the kids and that girl, you know, the entrepreneurial creativity, the entrepreneurial spirit, the creativity outpouring. And can you imagine what the world will be like if everyone's connected with that, like, abundance of creative energy, because out of love, right? Out of love and acceptance for themselves, and supported with adults like yourself, and, you know, with all the tools and knowledge and skills, but ultimately that I think the most important thing as well, you're yourself, and you're following your heart, and
it's so much fun. It's so much fun being a school cat, because a lot of it is through creative play. So a lot of it is like role play, and I've got like all these different puppets in my room, and we practice and we play lots of games and we build stuff, and just anything that helps the children feel and be creative. We do a lot of jewelry making,
amazing,
and a lot of arts and crafts. But there's this one boy, and he was, let's call it, I don't know, let's just say he's a naughty boy. He doesn't make good, no, let's not say the word naughty. He doesn't make good choices.
There you go. Yeah, that's better.
He doesn't make good choices, especially with his fists. He doesn't make good choices.
I understand, I get
it. And he was really, really struggling. So I was like, right, what can I do to help this boy? Because we tried the whole, reward chart, the behavior chart, the normal school behavior chart wasn't working. And so I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to give him a really special leadership role. And the transformation in him. So he had to be our transition coordinator, where he helped the whole year group feel comfortable about going up into the next year group. So I took him to year 5, because he's currently year 4. I took him to year 5. I was like, right, we're going to do some investigation work. And he interviewed the teachers, and he went around all the classrooms, and he found out a little bit about the curriculum. And he came back and created posters. And then he went to the 10 year 4 classes and presented Keep Calm, year 5 is amazing. And he did a Q&A question session at the end of them. And he was incredible. And at the end, he said, wow, I never have had the confidence to speak in front of a group of people and before this. And he has been the most beautiful angel in class. He's been a role model to everyone. He's been so kind. He's been supporting people, sharpening people's pencils. Like it's like he's a different child. It's giving him a feeling that he's important, and he is important. All children are important, and I'm so lucky that I get to work with students like that and work one-to-one with them to bring them alive and bring their sparkle.
That's amazing. It's so much fun, like you say. It's so much fun, and it's seeing the confidence, seeing the transformation in the kids. And they're lucky to have you as a guide, as a teacher, as a counselor. And also, like, love what you said, like, it's, you didn't go into the behavior chart and this isn't working, so that's it, it's a lost cause. It's like, no, how can we be creative and try something else out? And I feel like often I know what you mean, because often with those quote unquote naughty kids, it's a leadership role that they need, that they can really step up and, and channel their energy into, because who knows, the root cause of them being naughty, like, is probably quite deep, and just giving them that responsibility and also being trusted with that responsibility as well. It's such a big message and lesson for them. So amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Now back to, before I have like 5 questions at the end, 5 like quick fire round questions at the end.
Okay.
But before that, what would you say, just bringing it back like to an overview, what would you say personally is your biggest lesson that you've learned out of the past 3 years? Your journey so far in life, in your personal journey, your work with the kids. I could kind of almost make a guess based on what you shared, but I'd love to hear your answer. What was your biggest lesson?
To love and accept yourself as you are, and not have this constant need to be something or someone you're not. And just as soon as you accept yourself, like warts and all, and accept how you look, accept your body, and start being kind to yourself, life is just so much easier. You feel free. Like, life can be nice.
Exactly.
I can be with myself.
Right now.
I don't have to be mean every time I look in the mirror, rather than looking up all the wrinkles, these new grey hairs, I could just say something nice. Like, choose to be kind to yourself, I think, is the biggest thing. Just accept yourself and be kind, like actively be kind to yourself, and be grateful for who you are and what you are and what your body looks like. And as soon as that happens, it just, life every day, you walk through life with more peace, and it's just easier. Life is easier when you're not battling yourself on top of everything else. Learn to love yourself. And it's a long old journey. Like, I'm still trying. Like, it's still, I have my day, I still look in the mirror like, another wrinkle, no. But I'm so much nicer to myself than I used to be. I actually can't remember if I told you, I did this thought tracking thing one day where I tracked all my thoughts, and they were all negative, other than, I think, I was like, I'm hungry, I need a cup of tea. Like, other than
like physical things.
It was just, I was just so nasty to myself. But I barely do that anymore.
That's really conscious.
I'm so much better.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad I learned that at my ripe old age. I wish I'd learned it as a child. But anyway, it got me to where I was today. So
exactly. And that's why you're so good at what you do as well. You're the person for what you do, because of everything that you've experienced. And it's so, it's such and realizing what you said, about love and acceptance, and we get to be free. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like even freedom in this whole personal development world, people can be chasing this concept of freedom. It's like, it's actually right here. It's available to you right now through love and acceptance. And such a valuable message to end on. And thank you so much, Katherine. I can see you're just, feel the energy and the creativity and the joy of what you do come through. And I feel like you've shared such valuable messages and inspiration and skills that people can take away and just reflect on in their own life and with their children as well. And be creative and love and accept yourself. So thank you so much. Now let's end with the one, let's see, 1, 2, 5 questions, 5 quick fire round questions. Okay. They are 1-word answers. Some of them are quite challenging to answer in 1 word. So let's see, try your best.
I'll try my best.
So number 1, this is very in line with what we've just been sharing. What do you love most about yourself?
1 word. Oh, okay. I was going to go with sentence. 1 word. My passion.
Passion. Excellent. Love that. Number 2, what do you value most in others?
Oh, this is really tough, Amy.
I know, it's really difficult. I go through the deep questions.
The first thing that came to my mind was loyalty.
Yes,
I never really thought about it.
Wow, go for the first thing. I love the first things. I love the intuition coming through there. Loyalty, right? Because I think, especially with values, I feel like our mind can overthink value, especially when recording a podcast. Your mind can be like, oh, what's maybe best to say, but no, loyalty. Amazing.
And I think as in loyalty to yourself, like being
self-loyal. Yeah. I love that. Wow, thank you. Okay, number 3. It's a bit random, this one, but go with it. If you could come back in another lifetime as an animal, what animal would you choose to be?
Definitely a bird, because flying. I've always wanted to fly. I used to wish for it. Actually, I probably shouldn't tell you because it might not come true. But on my birthdays, from about the age of 5, I would wish that I could fly. Like actually, just on an airplane. But
love that.
With my body. So fingers crossed. I haven't even spoiled it now. Fingers crossed.
We'll get you some wings.
I used to wear fairy rings, but they never were. But I've seen jetpacks are a thing now. So hopefully in our lifetime we can ever go at jet.
Step closer. Okay, now ready? This is going from that question to a really bigger, higher vision question. What is the one thing you envision being included in the education of the future?
Mental health.
Excellent. Yeah. Number 5, last one. What is one piece of wisdom you would give your younger self from your higher self now?
Please love yourself and be kind to yourself. You are perfect and amazing as you are. And enjoy life. Life is meant to be joyful. Don't take it too seriously. I took life very seriously. I always had to do well and wanted to do well academically. But no, just enjoy life. It's meant to be fun.
Yeah. Amazing. Such a great message.
That wasn't 1 word, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's to enjoy, to love yourself. Right? Love yourself. Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Katherine. It's been a pleasure. And I'm so grateful to have this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening in. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend or post it on social media and tag me so I can personally thank you for helping to get the message out. I am so grateful to be on this journey with you. Talk to you soon.